What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916 getting down with another fresh out prison talk. I'm here with my man Damien Toppnotch. By good fortune, he reached out, wanted to share a story, get him on the show. He's got some interesting stuff to talk about. The man's been through the system. And Damien, having been through what you've been through in the prison system and some of the stuff you see out there as far as different things on social media, what's one of the biggest lies you would say that you see that's being kind of like glorified or glamorized as far as in prison? Because there's a lot of cell phone videos now that shows people in there kicking it and dudes in there getting high, and it's cool, and it's almost like they're trying to normalize that so that when if you do get caught up, you leave the streets, it's no big thing. What would you go about as far as elaborating on those type of topics you see on social media that get all these algorithms?
Well, basically they're all fallacies. You know what I'm saying? True enough, there are a lot of people getting high in prison, a lot of violence and stuff like that going on, but there's also people in there that's really working. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to change their life, whether through self-help classes or, art or me writing books, So there's a lot of positive, in their negative space. So that's like a misconception that I think that the masses don't really get a broader view on, because all the negative clickbait, that's portrayed and.
Now, you made a good point about people trying to rehabilitate, but one of the things I would like to add to that, and maybe you can add to it, is that rather than hanging out in prison, why don't you hang out on the street and go to school?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like they're acting like these dudes are chilling. Like, why would you not want to be doing that in a free environment?
Right. You're back against the wall. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're free, your homies, you got different, peers leading you certain ways. So there's a disconnect when you're on the street, but when you're inside, you get to really hone in on who you are, if that's really what you want to do. Like there's an opportunity to do that. There's classes allotted to do that, but it's, like I say, it's a disconnect between the shorties now. They just want to run amok and do their thing, whereas though people that's really up against it, like me, I was facing 45 to life, ended up doing 26 years. So I had to, really conform, so to speak, in order to get out, which I did.
Now, but as far as what would be your opinion or your view when you look at a lot of these young people and the choices they're making that they wake up to, then they figure, oh my God, I did this and now I'm looking at 20. The rationale, the coping mechanism. People feel like a lot of times they only have a limited or maybe one or two choices. There's millions of choices for one action. And also the people you're socializing with and what you're drawn to. How would you convey that to a person who's, feeling like, oh my God, this is so bad, when it's, dude, you got a cell phone that's a mini computer. Right. And then you don't have to hang out with a certain group of people. So your choices, your friends, career choices, options, you're wearing a $200 pair of Jordans.
Yeah.
So what do you mean you felt like you had to do this? You don't have to do any of that.
Right. It's the negative now. People, places, and things. You know what I'm saying? And people are attracted to that because it gets the glitter, it gets the limelight, it gets the clickbait. You know what I'm saying? People are attracted to, a certain way of living. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, whereas though you don't have to do that, you can utilize your talents, or go to school and glean knowledge to do other things. You know what I'm saying? But that's a hard thing to do. You know what I'm saying? People rather do the easiest, fly by night scheme, scamming, whatever, just to get by. You know what I'm saying? Not even thinking about tomorrow or the consequence of their actions. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you find a lot of people, once they get that type of time, looking up damn, because you was in a haze while you was on the street. You know what I'm saying? So now a reality finally hit you. You know what I'm saying? So now it's about what you're going to do going forward.
That haze you talk about, I see that with the guys who come in there in their early 20s, and then you see that guy who came in his early 20s and now he's in his 30s. You see he done settled down and realize the reality.
Exactly.
The people don't fell off. You realize dude, you're in here for doing what? And all you got to do is do this. You're and you start thinking. And a lot of times, like you said, people aren't thinking like that on the street because I feel like they're not. Their mental development is not fully developed. Your ability to rationalize stuff. Especially a lot of young men. I've seen a lot of young men, I call it when you time out of a behavior. You know, like sagging your pants, doing all that stuff, gang, whatever. You know, you don't, if you get involved, and I'm not judging gang, but if you get involved in certain gang or street activity, that's something you do when you're young. But if you're 35, 40, come on, man.
I just left the yard with people 55 years old still sagging. So it's a mentality thing, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to wake up out of that phase, out of that fog, you know what I'm saying, in order to see life for what it really is, other than a child's mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like people started gangbanging at like 12, 13.
That's what I mean.
But you live that same trajectory of life your whole lifespan. You know what I'm saying? Like you never grow out of that adolescent phase. And they said, like I took a lot of self-help classes, and they said that an adult brain isn't really fully formed until you're 24.
Yeah, I heard that too.
So,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So you got to think, from 13, now you're catching YA cases, you in the penitentiary, you really haven't fully developed. Nobody's really there to really coach you through life other than the guys that you idolize and you're on the yard with.
You know, another thing too, another catch-22 to that, and when you're around a lot of, like, I call it the Lord of the Rings syndrome, where everybody's on that same maturity. So how you learn from somebody who doesn't know, they never learned themselves. So you're learning from a dude who don't have no GED. He grew up in the system. Now he maybe read a few books, but he's promoting, so he's got a Lord of the Rings group around him. You got the other dude with another group. So the maturity and say the actual logical brain that maybe you would have ran across on the street is not in there. Exactly. So everybody's based off this behavior where they've been separated from their families. They've been brought up around men who weren't fully developed before they got locked up. And so you're taking on all these traits. And unless you catch yourself with that, I know one of the things I always looked at was like, and like you said, old guys still sagging or talking crazy in the TV room. I'm like, man, you know, it's like I got to stay away from that. I don't want to become like let that become a part of my character.
Exactly.
And that's where a lot of guys, it's hard for them to not, because they become, I call it institutionalized, but a lot of people aren't aware of that.
Yeah, it's a perpetual cycle. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, your uncles or your pops, you know what I'm saying, went to the pen, like, so now you like, well, certain cultures like that, you know what I'm saying, where they can't wait to go to the penitentiary, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, it's a perpetual cycle to where as though there's nobody to break the chain or to show them anything different. So it's like, this is what it is, you know what I'm saying? So now they're going to perpetuate that onto the younger generation. So now the cycle steady continues.
You having just left there not too long ago, what would you know, looking at some of these young people, what was the biggest thing you noticed as far as in the personality traits?
Just a disconnect, like lack of respect level, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I was down 16 years, you know what I'm saying? So I got to see the change. I became an old head, you know what I'm saying? An OG, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. So yeah, I left when I was 28 and I just came home March 12th, I'm 44. So, you know, I got to see both edges of the sword, you know what I'm saying? Get the shorties and, you know, like I say, just misguided, you know what I'm saying? Because like I say, their older guys probably went to jail when they was like 8, 10 years old. So now they trying to figure life out on life's terms on their own on the street. So where could I get guidance from? I catch a case, going to the fen. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm around my big homies, but they not showing them nothing substantial. So that's blind leading the blind, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. Unless they get around people like me or other people that's like, you know, really trying to glean knowledge and do something positive with their life. Now outside of the entity, they're hanging out with me on the yard or playing basketball with me, you know what I'm saying, to try to break up the monotony, you know what I'm saying, because other than that, it just, you know, perpetuating violence and a never ending cycle.
How many of those youngsters, I mean, being realistic, man, what are the percentage you think of those guys that actually have a chance of making it outside of prison?
Oh, man. I mean, it's kind of hard because, like I say, people respect, you know, the glitz and the glamour, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, if they really don't hone those skills while they're in there, nothing to sustain themselves when they get out, or any type of financial literacy, you know what I'm saying, they're going to be stuck in the rut, you know what I mean? And they're going to go back to what they know. So it's kind of sad, you know what I'm saying, really, you know what I'm saying? But there's a couple good brothers that's in.
So out of 1,000, say 1,500 guys, I mean, how many really you think are going to be able to separate themselves from that type of mental conditioning and see the bigger picture and get out and be successful?
Probably 200.
Out of 1,500 guys?
Probably 200.
That's crazy, man. It's crazy. And that's why, I started this channel with my partner, man, to put the message out there because, a lot of guys, they think it's a joke. You know, they clown, oh, man, you selling out, you a cornball, this and that, this and that. And I'm like, dude, I don't already live that. It's nothing there.
Right.
I got tricked.
Yeah.
I should have. I would have better off being a nerd. You know what I mean? Being a
Right.
cornball in school, learning calligraphy, Spanish 3, and skateboarding and being all that. That's better than hanging out with dudes trying to pretend to be something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like I said, I'm 44. I done gave the system in 3 different states like 23 years of my life. You know what I'm saying? So, you know.
And what's the like to the people out there? What's the benefit?
There is no benefit. You know what I'm saying? You go come home, they gonna, you know what I'm saying, people gonna love on you for a minute, but ultimately they live in their life. And it's up to you to catch up to speed. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, they know where they'll find you in a couple months. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to speak. So, you know, I'm giving myself a chance this time, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm living life on life's terms and doing the things right and trying to portray that message on to other people, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, like I'm from Chicago, you know what I'm saying, North Side, and people know, you know what I'm saying, my story and where I come from, and they see me now in a different light because of what I'm trying to do, you know what I'm saying? So that speaks volumes. So if I can do it, anybody can. You just got to give yourself a chance.
Chicago, you know, there's a lot of conversation always, revolving around Chicago because you got a lot of big rappers, Little Durk, FBG Duck, just a lot of violence. And, you know, it was ranked one of the highest. Now I think it's St. Louis, but Chicago, man, like for those youngsters out there who just, it seems like, you know, I just seen one of the NBA stars is out there to my checking in, and it's sad, man. They glorifying a youngster. He's 15 years old, out there hanging out at night, should be at home with his parents. And then they said the same youngster in that video, I can't remember the NBA guy, but he had caught a first-degree murder right after that video. But I'm just saying, like, the guys are acting like it's so cool. Like, why do you think people go about, like, you're glorifying this behavior and it's not winning with there's nothing to benefit from that.
Right. I mean, there is no benefit, but I mean, like I say, they came up in these environments, you know what I'm saying, but they protected because they was ball players or they had talent or something, you know what I'm saying? So people can like kind of, you know, kept them to the side and just made sure they were straight, just go to school, stay on that trajectory while we do this. You know what I'm saying? The masses do this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there could be a thing where, you know, it's still infatuation. You know what I'm saying? Because they come from
Oh,
it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, just because I come from something, John Morant, for example. You know what I'm saying?
Still
like,
doing that stuff, man.
Like, he's an NBA talent, you know what I'm saying? Face of the league, all that, but you still run around toting poles, like, for what? But it's the imagery.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like these squares want to be street dudes.
Exactly.
Street dudes, we want to get the hell out of there.
Exactly. It's the same thing with athletes want to be rappers. Rappers want to be athletes. You know what I'm saying? So it's always a coin toss because it was all in us. At one point in time, we all had talent to play ball or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But we chose a certain path.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's still perpetuating that sort of, you know what I'm saying, street vibe or I'm a hip or, you know, that type of thing too. So
I just think it's almost a travesty because if you were to go back there, you should be like, you know, for one, you're saying checking in or whatever you're doing with the young people. So you're talking about really just checking in is killing another black dude if you don't check in. It ain't nobody else. Ain't no Klan going over there. Ain't nobody else. Right. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're Klan, check in, Klan. It ain't no Klan. It's another brother. So for one, you're talking about if he don't check it, you're willing to do something to him just because.
Right.
Number two, you should be like, hey man, I made it, bro. You know, you guys, let's set up a basketball league, or you guys, you know, let's do a field trip. I'm gonna take you guys on a deal for me to go buy an apartment complex, or I'm gonna show you how to, talk to my buddy. He has a franchise over here, and why not do some positive shit, man?
Right.
Instead of being out there smoking weed with the dude talking about we're hanging. What is that, man?
Right. I mean, because you know, it's the same thing where not everybody with you can go with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, I can't be in corporate America and then go back to 1300 and tell the shorties like, look, we got financial literacy classes. Like, 9 out of 10, they don't want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they on their own trajectory. So you trying to meet them where they at, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So.
But I think, okay, and I agree with you because I'm not going to go over here to these dudes who, dudes, come on, man, we don't want to hear that shit. But at the same time, like if you want to, come over here, the neutral spot, and I can, give you the game because you look like you're trying.
Right.
Maybe your mom working hard, dude. I understand, you're up against the wall, your back's against the wall. Come over here, but I'd rather do that than to go hang out and act like I'm trying to be something with you guys because you guys ain't got a chance. I'm already made it.
Right.
I'm coming over here bullshit with you guys.
Yeah, but it's more so like a photo op.
Yeah,
for them to go over there and be in the hood type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like here I am, I'm still with the guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm still lit, I'm still with it. But as soon as the camera's cut off, all right, y'all, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? Like now you leave them high and dry.
Now that right there, photo op, right? I see that. We see a lot of that. Now, back in the day, ESPN didn't promote any of that. But you see how much they promote those. A lot of the guys who are sports announcers promote that. Now, let's go backwards. Dr. J, Isaiah Thomas, George Gervin. These guys didn't. They didn't go back and promote that.
No.
So see what I'm saying? It's like almost like you want us to glorify that because it keeps you in a certain mind state. The photo ops, the other photo op used to be back in the day. Remember you used to see the brothers with a suit on and the ad. You're like, man, I want to go in because he got a suit on, he nice car, nice neighborhood.
Or cutting a ribbon on something.
Yeah, I mean, but it was like these dudes were in very prominent places and they were blacks and it made you feel good about being out of that. Right. Not going back there. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so stupid, man.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, it's what's selling. You know what I'm saying? It's trending. So, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully within the next few years, you know what I'm saying, the trend has changed, the trajectory of things have changed, and we get back to black excellence. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the thing when they dropped the Watch the Throne, Jay-Z and Kanye, like the whole black excellence, like that was like the theme of the album, you know what I'm saying? And everybody around that time was like, you know, bigging up black businesses and black, you know what I'm saying, entrepreneurship. Now it's like, you know, we back in the trap. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and the trap is being glorified because I look at it as literally, those are prison commercials. Hey, man, just be cool with it. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
You guys, you know what I mean? You're with your homies and all this stuff, so shit, you know. Even the dude, he's NBA, but he likes to hang out with you guys, even though he lives in a $5 million mansion, but, you know, he's still, you know, yeah, I know him. He was cool. He came to my hood.
Yeah.
That's some dumb ass shit. It's really stupid, man.
Yeah.
You know, I look at it, it's like, you know, I used to look at the Jet magazines growing up, the Ebonies, and then GQ. And I used to always be like, man, what would it be like to wear some nice shoes, this and that? But how would I get that? Maybe play sports, maybe do this, blah, blah, blah. But like, they're not even planting the season either. I'm just like, dude, just be cool and I'll blow one with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't think about getting up out. Just, you know, be cool. Bro, it's not that, you know, it's not like I'm telling you guys, hey, man, and it's like, I'm not, like you said, and it's not about preaching, but at the same time, like, hey, man, you ever thought about, like, you know, 5 years, what you can do? Oh, man, no, you know, you could maybe do this. You know, you ever thought about this? No, I never thought. Because there's a lot of things.
You got to plant the seed.
Until you get to prison, you start thinking like, God damn, why didn't I think about this? Why didn't I? You know what I mean? You start looking in like Success Magazine, Entrepreneur, you know, Fortune. You start thinking about all these different career paths you could have took besides crime or whatever criminal activity. And I used to think about that all the time. Like, dude, I got played. I got programmed for a certain behavior, and I didn't. It's like they tricked me, and then I learned about later on. You know, 2-3 years in my bit.
Right.
You know, so that's where I think the big dupe comes into play.
Yeah, I mean, it took me going to classes like CGA and, you know, anger management, things like that, learning character defects and, you know what I'm saying, different causative and contributive factors, you know what I'm saying? Like, until you start getting into the self-help aspect and learning who you are and you know, ultimately who you want to be, like, it'll never come to fruition, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you're still in the rut. You know what I'm saying? Around people that's in a rut.
Yeah.
So who's going to help you get out of the rut, you know what I mean, so to speak.
Repetitive. Yeah. There you have it, you guys. Big Herc 916, Damien Toppnotch, fresh out prison talk.